But I guess you've got a little story to tell us. Grab the microphone.
Well, there's a book I wrote. Let me just preface this. I came to Danville in 1976, and I lived up where Monte Vista High School is. It's called Oak Hill Farm. There's Oak Hill Park, and that's where they have the war memorial. But my dad was in the First World War. He was an ambulance driver from Evanston, Illinois, but got as far as Ohio. They didn't have any ambulances to send over, and that was just when things started in 1918. And so then he got to be in the motor transport division hauling ammunition. And he was one of 68 men out of 4 million people to win 8 class and stay alive in the four defenses when Germany was pushing into France down the way to Paris, and then they turned them around at the Marne and the river where they had the ceremony today over there in Europe. He was at the line hauling the ammunition on the 11th of November, and they let them all out, and they all ran to Paris, and they were there for the ceremony.
Yeah.
So I feel, and I'm a patriot for sure.
He talked about it a lot, obviously.
He's talked about nothing. He started writing it, so I found these papers and made a book, and I work tax season still, so I'm 82, and so I didn't have time to put all this together in a book, but then I did during the winter when I had all of this taken to Wisconsin. It's now in a museum in northern Wisconsin where our family has background. But he was hauling up all the ammunition in the dark with no headlights because they didn't want to get bombed. And then when on the return trip, and they would go to places like the Mum's Wine Champagne, places where the railroad trains went, because they'd bring the troops in there and load them into the trucks, and then they'd haul them up to wherever they were supposed to go. And then coming back, they hauled what he called the Blesseds. But he wrote all of this stuff when he turned 80. And then he wrote it to the newspaper in Madison, Wisconsin, where we're from.
So it took him till he was 80 to start talking about it.
Well, he never talked to us, but he had a banjo. He bought for $25 in Milwaukee when he joined the Red Cross. So he had all the medic training. So besides the fact that he was hauling the ammunition up, he had to be the medic on the way down for the wounded, and then many of them died on the way back to the base and whatnot. So, and then he had to stay. I didn't even know this. He had to stay until the following June in 1919. So that's why the museum in Wisconsin is going to have the exhibit next year. But there's a book on the table here, and I took he typed all his letters and all his memories, and I found them after he died. And so then I decided if I didn't say something, like they challenged everybody, if you don't say something, and thank you for interviewing me, because I have a son in Walnut Creek, and I didn't even ask him to come with my grandchildren. We came to the museum when it opened, but they're playing soccer today, you know how it goes. Do you have any more questions?
So what was your father's name?
Robert Newcomb Marling, and we go back to the Mayflower, our ancestry. And actually, 1610, and my Andrew Newcomb, which my youngest son is named after, was a captain of a sailing vessel that brought people from England to Massachusetts. So I'm a total patriot. I've been involved in politics since 1950. In Wisconsin, I was a page at the Wisconsin Convention, and I've been active all this time, basically in the schools, because I had 4 sons, ranging from the 17 down to 2 days after I got here to Danville. My youngest son was born in 1776, and so I had to name him Andrew Newcomb after the English. Yeah.
Founding father, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, great. Well, thank you so
Well,
much.
he's asking me a question.
Let's go inside and look at your book.
Oh, I'd love
And
to
thank
show you. Father was there hauling the ammunition and the dead, and it blesses. Sorry I couldn't share more, but I'm a late comer for this. But my stuff was all in the San Ramon Valley Museum to begin with, and now to be shown for the second year in Northern Wisconsin Museum.
Oh, Wisconsin, very good, very good. Well, please come on in.
Well, these men want to see my book.
Okay. Take care.
Oh, is that your dad? Wow.
That's my dad in the book, but it's done at Office Depot right here in San Ramon. But this is a picture of the trunk. It's still got all the tags on it. And then,
Then you got his letters back there.
no, this is the banjo head, where he started June 1917 in Evanston, Illinois, and then it ended up at Camp Grant in Rockford, Illinois, from June 9th to June 27, 1990. So he was in 2 years hauling.
Probably enough.
But see, this is his typing, and the signatures and all. That's to the editor of the Wisconsin State Journal. This is the poetry that they wrote. The Terrible Battle of Paris. Let's Roll. You know, we've heard of that. This is all my dad's typing. There's a hut. And then there he's playing the banjo in the towns. This is where they had the millions of ammunition. This is on the general that was Richard Mallet, and he was their commander. And then here's all of his artifacts we saved. There's the medal, and that's all in the museum, and it was in the San Ramon Museum. This I took for the San Ramon Museum collection. And there's all the clothes.
Wow, he kept everything, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like in impeccable shape, too.
Well, then there's no moth. And the Stars and Stripes book, which is what they still use, was a newspaper articles in English. There's his gas mask. He was mustard gassed. Here's his duffel bag. And here's the display in the San Ramon Valley Museum.
Oh, there's banjos there.
And then these are the shells he was hauling. They made them into vases. One says Argonne and one says Verdun on it. My sister. And then this is when he got home. He was 23. And then, you know, the PSD thing, well, his parents sent him to Colorado to unwind because he had bad memories too.
Bet he did.
But there he is at 80, featured in the Wisconsin State Journal. But again, this is all his typing.
Wow.
Every time it got to be Memorial Day, and of course we always got a poppy. Daddy went out and got poppies for my sister and me and my mother. But these are, so then at the end of this was a thing about his name. Ann Landers had an article. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, I know him.
But she, you know, you got it from your father. It was the best he could give. That thing. Well, we lived by that. That was in our kitchen. Especially when we were in high school. We were, and then this is our family tree, as I said, from Andrew Newcomb in 1686. And this is the Andrew Newcomb, my son, but now, of course, we got grandchildren.
Yeah, you got to update it.
We did this for our 100th anniversary in northern Wisconsin of our family, starting in 1887. That's how long we've been in northern Wisconsin, surveying the Michigan-Wisconsin border for a
There's like pioneers everywhere.
Yeah. So I decided there's
There's the official family tree.
That's a family tree starting with my grandmother and grandfather going back. I only did one page. Yeah, it's Ben Franklin's in there.
Hey, you're descended from him too.
Well, the surveyor is Franklin Butterfield Newcomb. So they carry that name down for that. And then this is the homestead property in 1800. Since this is, yeah, and now I own the original log cabin. So anyway,
Still standing?
yes.
Wow.
It got struck by lightning in 1990, so half of it is weatherproofed, and the other half is logs where the curtains blow. So I can't live there in the winter.
A little chilly, huh?
So I picked Alamo in Danville to
There
live
you
in.
go.
But this is their insignia.
It's like a little horn. Okay. Wow. That is amazing.
So these are those things for their legs, the leggings. This was a star that was in my grandmother's window.
Oh, wow.
Wow, the Blue Star Mom.
Yeah, and this is Grandpa. What did you do in the big war? You mean to make the world safe for democracy?
Yeah, that war.
I lived that. I mean, that's what my father. And then this is the medal.
Wow.
And there should be a 9th one on there for the extra 6 months. But my father never, I guess,
Never
applied
quite
for
got
it.
it, oh.
But I've decided now that I've done all of this, I'm going to send some of this. This was the handouts at the other museum with
Victory
all
medal.
the victory medal, and he was one of 68 out of 4 million men to receive this medal, which is pretty special. Thank you for your interest in this. I wish I could tell more stories. I can go on the speaking circuit because I'm not afraid to talk.
You sure could.
Yeah, but my poor sister, he never had a hat like that. This is the hat he had.
Was that because of what he did? His job in the Army?
Well, to keep him head warm, I guess.
Okay.
You know, it's.
Well, in the wintertime.
See,
Yeah.
what did I do? Have it on backwards?
Couldn't tell.
See,
Oh, there it is. There's his name. Yeah.
But you know, most of these hats
They're wool.
were like a teepee now. You know, like
Please show us his signature one more time for the camera, and thank you.
in the hat.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
Wow.
you.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for your interest in that. Gee whiz, can I give you my email? I wish I could give you the book, but I dedicated. Do you have a business card or something? See, I dedicated but I was remiss at the beginning because I had it.
You can use it, yeah.
Well, no, yeah, but I gave one to the San Ramon Valley Museum, and I hand delivered it to them in August, knowing this was going to happen, and it got lost in the stack. You know how things go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So anyway, I just put this up here and brought the stuff in today in my bag.
Holy cow.